They say biochar is the modern gardener's miracle, the secret to richer soil and greener plants. But long before scientists gave it a fancy name and farmers started chasing trends, our grandparents were already doing something far simpler. Something that sat quietly in every corner of the homestead: ash. Wood ash. The kind that gathered at the bottom of a fireplace after a long, cozy night by the fire. See, back then, folks didn't talk about carbon, sequestration, or soil microbiomes. They just knew what worked. They saw how tossing a handful of ash around the garden made their cabbages crisp, their beans bountiful, and their soil come alive again. Today, while many of us spend a small fortune chasing new gardening fads, the real magic might still be sitting right under our noses, or rather, right under our old wood stoves. So before you spend another dime on store-bought soil boosters, let's take a page from the past and rediscover what generations before us already knew. Sometimes, the best garden secrets aren't bought, they're remembered. Meet Grandma Mabel, 78 years young, sharp as a thorn, gentle as soil after rain. Her hands tell stories no book ever could, soft where time has been kind, rough where hard work left its mark. Every morning, she steps out into her backyard garden with a chipped mug of coffee in one hand and a small pail of gray ash in the other. Now, folks around town swear she's got the greenest thumb this side of the county. Her tomatoes burst like little suns. Her beans climb like they've got somewhere important to be, and her roses? Well, they bloom as if they know they're part of her Sunday prayers. When people ask her what her secret is, she just smiles, that quiet smile, the kind that carries 50 years of experience, and says, "It's the ashes, dear. The same ones from my stove." See, Grandma Mabel doesn't buy fancy fertilizers. She doesn't fuss over big scientific words. She just remembers what her own mother used to do, saving every bit of wood ash through the winter, keeping it dry, and come spring, sprinkling it lightly around her garden beds like blessing the soil. She knows what the scientists are now proving: that ash, when used right, sweetens the soil, balances its pH, and feeds it with calcium and potassium, the same nutrients plants crave. But Mabel doesn't call it chemistry. She calls it common sense. She'll tell you, the soil's just like us, it gets tired. It gets sour, and sometimes, it just needs a little kindness. The ash helps bring it back to balance. Watching her work is like stepping back in time, a reminder that wisdom doesn't always come in bags or bottles. Sometimes, it comes in stories, passed from calloused hands to curious hearts. And that's what makes Grandma Mabel so special. She bridges the gap between then and now, between what we've forgotten and what we're relearning. Her garden isn't just a patch of earth. It's a living memory of what happens when patience, tradition, and nature all sit down at the same table. So next time you sweep out your fireplace, don't throw away that ash too quickly. Hold it in your hands, and remember, somewhere out there, Grandma Mabel is smiling because she knows that the old ways still work, if only we care enough to keep them alive. They call it old-fashioned, but the truth is there's science buried in every handful of wood ash. Wood ash isn't just dust left behind by last night's fire. It's what's left when nature completes its full circle, when trees, once fed by the earth, give back everything they took. Inside those soft gray flakes lies a treasure trove of nutrients: potassium, calcium, magnesium, and trace minerals, the very same building blocks that healthy soil craves. See, when soil gets tired, it turns sour. It stops giving. Plants struggle, leaves yellow, and no matter how much compost you throw in, something just feels off. That's where ash comes in, not as a fertilizer, but as a restorer, a gentle rebalancer that brings life back to the ground. A sprinkle here, a dusting there, and suddenly, the soil starts breathing again. It's the circle of life in its simplest form: tree to fire, fire to ash, ash to soil, soil to plant, plant to table. No chemicals, no plastic bottles, no fancy labels, just wisdom returned to the earth. And the beautiful part? You don't need to be a scientist to understand it. Our grandparents didn't talk about pH or alkalinity, but they knew what they saw. They knew that after a winter of burning firewood, those ashes were gold for their gardens. They used them to sweeten acidic soil, strengthen roots, and coax weary land back to health, one handful at a time. Today, we dress that wisdom up in lab coats and data charts. But the truth remains the same. The answers have always been in our own backyards, sitting quietly in the ash pan, waiting for someone who remembers. And maybe that someone is you. So next time you clean out your stove or sweep your hearth, don't see waste, see potential. A gift from the past that can still grow a better tomorrow. Because sometimes progress doesn't mean moving forward, it means circling back. Did your parents or grandparents ever use fireplace ash in their gardens? Tell us what they grew. We love hearing old family tricks in the comments. Step by step, how Mabel uses ash. She doesn't just toss it around. There's a rhythm to her method, one that keeps the soil alive. For Grandma Mabel, using ash isn't a chore. It's almost like a ritual. Every step is done with patience. The same way she kneads bread or shells peas, slow, steady, and full of care. Because she knows the land listens. And when you treat it kindly, it gives back tenfold. Step 1. Cool and sift. She waits until the ash is completely cool, no glowing embers, no hidden heat. Then she sifts it through an old kitchen strainer, shaking gently to remove any charcoal chunks or nails from the firewood. You only want the fine, powdery part, she says. That's where the goodness lives. Step 2. Light sprinkle. Mabel never dumps or piles. She sprinkles it lightly. Like seasoning a favorite soup, just a whisper of gray dust across the topsoil. Around her vegetables, between the rows. Never directly on tender roots or wet leaves. Too much of a good thing can burn, she reminds us. It's not about feeding the plants fast. It's about feeding the soil right. Step 3. Water gently. Once the ash is down, she fills her watering can and gives the soil a soft drink. The water helps the minerals soak in calcium, potassium, magnesium, turning them from dust into nourishment. It's like waking the soil up after a nap. Step 4. Mix with compost. Whatever ash she doesn't sprinkle goes into her compost bin. There it mingles with kitchen scraps and garden clippings, the old and the new, working together. Over time, it turns into a rich, dark blend that feeds her plants slowly, steadily, season after season. When you watch her do it, it feels less like gardening and more like storytelling. Every scoop of ash a memory, every sprinkle a quiet prayer for growth. And maybe that's the real secret behind her thriving garden. Not just what she adds to the soil, but how she adds it with intention, gratitude, and respect. Because in Grandma Mabel's world, the garden isn't a project. It's a relationship. So the next time you clean your fireplace, think of her, that gentle rhythm, that quiet wisdom, and maybe give your own soil a little of that same love. What's your own tried and true soil revival secret? Share it below. Someone might learn from you today. The caution zone. Like all good things, too much can do harm. Grandma Mabel always says, even blessings need balance. See, wood ash might be full of minerals, but used carelessly, it can tip the scales of your soil the wrong way. Ash is alkaline, that means it sweetens the soil, raising the pH. And while a little helps revive tired, acidic earth, too much can make your garden beds too sweet for comfort. When that happens, plants start to struggle. Their leaves pale, growth slows, and some simply stop producing. It's not because the soil is dead, it's because it's overfed with the wrong kind of kindness. Mabel learned that lesson years ago, the hard way. She tells the story often. The first time I used ash, she chuckles, I thought more meant better. I spread it thick over my potatoes. Next thing I knew, they turned yellow and stunted. Took me a whole season to set it right again. That's why now, she uses just a handful at a time, a soft scoop scattered with care. Never in piles, never in haste. She treats ash like seasoning in cooking. A pinch adds flavor. A handful ruins the meal. And she's wise enough to know where not to use it. Blueberries, strawberries, azaleas, and potatoes, they're acid-loving plants. They thrive in slightly sour soil, the kind ash can quickly neutralize. So Mabel leaves them alone, letting them keep their preferred balance. For everything else, she listens to her land. She watches the color of the leaves, the health of the soil, the rhythm of the rain. If her plants look happy, she leaves them be. If they start to fade, she adds a whisper of ash again, never more than the soil can handle. Gardening, she says, isn't about control. It's about partnership. You listen, you adjust, you respect what the earth is telling you. And maybe that's the real science behind it, not just chemistry, but humility. Because the secret isn't in the ash itself, but in the way it's used. So remember, the next time you scoop from the fireplace, less is more. One handful can restore, but two might ruin. Treat it like Mabel does, with care, observation, and gratitude. The soil will reward you in kind. The heart moment. wisdom over waste. Mabel says ash reminds her of life. What once burned bright can still bring life again. Nothing wasted, everything redeemed. When she looks into her garden, she doesn't just see rows of vegetables. She sees stories of seasons that came and went, of mistakes that turned into lessons, of beauty that rose again from what was once broken down. Every winter, when the fires in her wood stove burn low and the nights stretch long, she thinks of how those same flames that warm her home will later feed her soil. How what was once fuel becomes food. What was once consumed becomes creation. To Mabel, ash isn't just a gardening trick. It's a reminder that nothing, not even the end of something, is ever truly the end. You live long enough, she says, brushing her palms across the soil, and you learn that life keeps circling back. The old feeds the new. The spent becomes the seed. And maybe that's why she gardens with such tenderness. It's not about growing perfect plants. It's about honoring the process of decay and renewal, of loss and giving back. For her, the garden is a mirror. The ash is her teacher. It whispers that age is not the end of growth, it's the proof of it. That wisdom, like minerals in the ash, comes only after the fire. She'll tell you, we're all a bit like soil-tired sometimes, overworked, but still ready to give life again if we're nourished right. That's what makes Mabel's world so beautiful. She doesn't see waste, she sees possibility. She doesn't see endings, she sees beginnings wearing older clothes. So when she sprinkles those ashes across her garden, it's more than a chore. It's a quiet prayer, a moment of gratitude for all that was and all that still can be. Because to her, every handful of ash says the same simple truth. Nothing in nature is wasted when love tends to it. And maybe that's the real wisdom. She's passing down that. Even in the cooling ashes of time, life still finds a way to bloom again. So before you chase the next garden trend, look to the hearth. The answer might be resting in yesterday's ashes. In a world where everything moves fast, new fertilizers, fancy gadgets, endless advice, Grandma Mabel reminds us that sometimes the best answers are the simplest ones. They're the ones sitting quietly, waiting for us to slow down long enough to remember. Her garden isn't powered by money or modern science alone, it's powered by memory. By the things passed down, not bought. By the patient rhythm of seasons that don't rush to bloom, but grow steady and sure. Every handful of ash she sprinkles is a story, a little proof that wisdom doesn't expire, it matures, and that what we once thought was waste can still bring life again. So maybe it's time to pause before chasing every new gardening craze. Maybe the secret isn't in a product, it's in perspective. Maybe the miracle isn't biochar or bottled boosters. Maybe it's rediscovering the quiet beauty of what's already in our hands. Look to your hearth, to the lessons your parents and grandparents lived by. The warmth that fed their homes, the ashes that fed their soil, and the faith that fed their hope. Because the truth is, gardening isn't just about growing food, it's about growing wisdom. Every season teaches patience. Every harvest reminds us that what we give returns multiplied. So take a moment today. Step outside. Feel the soil beneath your feet. Maybe gather a small tin of ash from your own fire and carry it with gratitude, not just as plant food, but as a reminder that even what's burned can bloom again. That's the circle of life, the rhythm of nature. The lesson Mabel keeps teaching us not through her words, but through her way of living. And if her story stirred a memory, a smile, or a spark and you share it, pass it on. Tell someone younger about the wisdom that's kept your own garden growing. Because that's how knowledge stays alive, through stories, through hands, through hearts. And while you're here, don't forget to join this growing circle of old souls and new gardeners. Hit that subscribe button, give this story a like, and share it with someone who still believes that the best things in life are simple, slow, and true. After all, in gardening, just like in life, the smallest things often make the biggest difference. Even something as humble as a handful of ash.